unique needs of you and your family. Knowlton Hewins Roberts. Visit us online or visit our 2 locations in Augusta and Winthrop.
We're back with Dr. Eleanor Sabine of the Lakeside Veterinary Clinic in Oakland and our new guest, Debbie Berthiaume of Waterville, who is the owner of It Makes Dog Sense and an ABC certified dog trainer. And this is
Andy.
Tell us about Andy. And
okay, this is one of Dr. Sabine's vet tech's dog. He came into the clinic probably a little over a year ago, injured, and unfortunately the people were not able to have the surgery that's needed. So Dr. Sabine decided that he was really a nice little puppy and decided to have him fixed, and then convinced Cheryl to foster him, and he's now Cheryl's dog.
Andy is a mixed breed Beagle,
American Bulldog, and Shepherd.
Perfect.
Yeah.
A cocktail dog.
I say if someone was to ask me what's in him, I'd say, what do you want him to be?
Yeah. You bet. He's a Heinz 57.
That's right.
And Andy is 1 year old.
He's a little over a year.
Okay.
Yep.
Now, what we want to talk about is training, because if any of us have pets, and especially as we get older and the fear of falling or getting pulled, I mean, we're coming into spring, we want to get outside with our critters again, and you're going to tell us about a command that you're going to show us how to train them to do that. But before that, can you tell us something about the paraphernalia that Andy's wearing and why all that's important?
Okay, he's garbed up. These are a couple of different control tools that you can use. The one around his nose is a gentle leader, and it's used basically the same way that you put a halter on a horse. Mm-hmm. And the idea behind the gentle leader is where the head goes, the body's going to follow.
Okay.
And a lot of the students that I get into class, that's one of their big issues, is that their dog's pulling. Whether that is a 6-pound dog or whether it's a 100-pound dog, pulling is generally an issue.
Sure.
So in order to train the dog, you have to have control over the dog. Mm-hmm. So this will put the student or the people that come to my class right in control. The dog doesn't necessarily like it, so how I tell people to desensitize him is let him wear it in the house, put it on when you feed him, play with him with it without anything attached. And after, a week or so, he'll get used to that being on. Now, he doesn't wear this very often. Uh-huh. And as you can see, he's not really resisting it. He can open his mouth all the way. He can chew on his little busy buddy, which is a training tool. He can do everything that normally a dog would do. It is not a muzzle. It's not going to prevent your dog from biting if you have an aggressive dog. You can get what's called a halty that does close the mouth, but still, that still is not bite-proof. And it's just a really good tool. And once the dog understands that he's going to get to do everything he wants to do, mm-hmm. he adjusts to it. And it really gives you fingertip control.
And that's the goal, isn't it?
You want to be able to control your dog so it doesn't pull you over.
Right. And it doesn't lunge after
other
children,
dogs,
other people,
other dogs or bicycles
or
cars and things like that. I mean, it takes practice. And what I tell my students when they come in with a puppy, he was a puppy a year ago, last January, in my class, I tell my students it takes 2 years to train a puppy. Mm-hmm. It takes 18 for a child.
Is that right?
Well, you have children? It takes 18 for a child. Yeah. Only 2 years for dogs. So it's so much easier.
You're right. It takes 18 years to civilize a child before you can send it out into
That's
society.
Right. That's
so
right.
So
2 years, you put a 2-year investment into your dog, you're going to have a great companion dog. But
and they never criticize, so that's...
Absolutely, and they love you every time you come home, regardless of the mood, regardless of what your hair looks like. So the gentle leader is one tool that I use in class. The other that he has on is called a no-pull halter. By the way, you can get most of these or all of these either online or you can get them at a local pet store.
Okay.
And I think Walmart actually carries the no-pull halter as well. The no-pull halter is basically what this does is this restricts the chest muscles from pulling. This is great for really any size dog as well. It's just going to put a little pressure on the chest, and it's going to stop them from pulling. Regular harnesses that you see in the store are not as great for a dog that's pretty rambunctious and pulling, because it actually gives them that movement of wanting to pull. This actually puts some pressure on the chest.
Okay.
Okay, so it's a little bit, it's better for a dog that's pulling. And even if your dog doesn't pull, just, someone comes around the corner and it frightens your dog.
Sure.
It'll keep the dog from darting away from you. It's just a safety issue. I used one of these with one of my Goldens when we did pet therapy. When we went into the hospitals and the nursing homes, she always wore her no-pull harness. At the time, the gentle leaders were not really around.
Yeah.
But I probably would have used a gentle leader as well.
Let me ask Debbie, I'm going to go through these quickly because you're going to show us how to train a dog to do weight, because that is safety for the owner and for the pet itself. First of all, there is something called Paw Guard, and this is a lanolin-based product to protect their feet because of the salt and the freezing. That's something to hang on to think about. And this is an extraordinarily attractive polar fleece. Oh,
there's a lot of clothes
jacket,
out there for dogs now. I don't think people realize that they get cold in this climate.
And Ellie, what about the little shoes, little booties? Good idea?
If the dog gets used to them, I think
it does take a while to get used to. I honestly, that was for my Golden, and when I put them on his feet, as much as I laughed, and I felt bad laughing because he looked like a hackney pony walking around. But as soon as he got used to those, when it was below zero, he would lay on the kitchen floor. I would put his boots on him, and he'd go outside and he'd run around the backyard because he knew he had arthritis in his feet, and he knew that was going to protect his feet, and he was able to run around in the backyard.
Well, if these came
for injuries as well.
For injuries.
Yeah, someone's cut. Someone has a cut or
Well, if these came in a red pump, I think Jelly would look smashing. Okay. All right, let's show us training, and this is the command of weight.
Okay, so there's a couple of ways to teach your dog to wait. I'm going to take this little busybody away from him so he'll concentrate on me, and I'm going to get his focus just for about
And you're using freeze-dried liver.
I'm using freeze-dried liver, which you can get at any pet store. And what I say, when you're training your dog, what I tell people in my class is that pocket lint size, you want what's going to fit underneath your fingernail. You don't want very much because you're going to use a lot of them.
Okay.
So you're going to get your dog's focus. Okay. One of the easiest way to teach your dog to wait is to, Andy, sit or down. One of the easiest way to teach your dogs to wait is going to be when you feed them. So when you go to put their food down, you're going to put the food down. Andy, sit. You're going to tell them to sit. Andy, sit. Or down. You're going to go to put the food down, but you're going to tell him to wait. 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 Okay. And then you're going to give them permission to take it. That's one way to see. You're going to feed them a couple of times a day, so that's going to give them a reason to practice a couple of times a day. The other way that I tell people to teach wait is when you're at the door. Okay, so let's pretend that there's a door right here. We're getting ready to go out, and I'm going to watch my little thing here. I'm going to tell Andy to sit. Let's pretend that Andy already knows how to sit. So, Andy, sit. I'm getting ready to open the door. When I go to open the door, if he goes to dart, that door is at my disposal. So I I say, Andy, sit. I go to open the door and I say, wait. I go to open the door, and if he goes to dash out, I close that door very quickly. And I say, no, wait. You go to open the door. You do it 3 to 5 times. Dogs learn in 3s and 5s. So if you do it 3 to 5 times, usually by the 3rd time, they get the idea. The reward, okay, you don't need treats doing this, because their reward is that they're going to get to go outside. So you open the door briefly, just a little bit, and you close it real quick. Okay, if they go to jump, no, sit. Make them sit all over again. You go to open the door again. Andy, sit. wait. Let's pretend we open the door. We're going to open the door, and then I'm going to say, okay, and then he gets to go out. That's his reward. He doesn't need treats. Now, if you have a dog that has a hard time focusing on you, you can use your treats at the door as well.
Sure.
But generally, their reward is going outside. And actually, the people in my class, what I tell people is, if they are in my class, I tell them not to let their dog run out the door, okay? Because then they're going to be pulling on the end of the leash. I say, open the door and say, let's go. And then they get to walk out nicely out the door.
Right.
But again, this takes training.
So the wait, if there's one command that people can learn, wait, will keep a dog from pulling and maybe pulling over an owner or darting out and getting injured.
And it's also a great command to use as you get ready to open your car door and you're going to let your dog out. You know, it'll give you time to get your leash
Because
attached.
even if it's an indoor dog, it still has to go in the car to go to the vet.
Right, exactly.
There will have to be some
even if
trouble.
it doesn't ever go outside but go to the groomer and go to the vet, you're still going to be taking that dog outside of the car at some point. It's never going to not have to go in the car.
Sure.
So all of this is really, it's fun for the dog. Once the dog understands what you want from it, the dog really does want to please you. You just have to find its motivation.
Sure.
And it may be just opening the door and going outside and playing.
A famous British dog trainer once said that any dog can be trained in 5 minutes. It's the owner that takes a little time.
Well, the owner takes 2 years.
The owner takes 2 years.
Yeah,
Okay.
the dog, I can teach a dog anything in a couple of minutes. It's the owner that I have to teach for a couple of years.
Very good. Andy, you are a lucky, lucky boy, and Cheryl is a lucky, lucky woman to have you come join her household. We'll be back in just a moment for a wrap-up. Thank you, Debbie. Thank you, Andy. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Do you want me-
Spectrum Generations. Live healthy, live well. Get answers, get connected. Spectrum Generations, specializing in the art of aging.
There's no place like Hollywood. From the newest slots to blockbuster jackpots and all the excitement you can handle. This is where you're in the spotlight. You're the star. A place where the action never stops and the night is always young. Hollywood, the name says it all.
We're back with Dr. Eleanor Sabine of the Lakeside Veterinary Clinic in Oakland, Maine. And right now, everybody's going to get a 2-minute free vet consultation on pet safety in the home and outside the home. Talk to us, Ellie. What do you want people to know?
Oh gosh, I guess the thing I see at least once in a winter time is an owner, not necessarily someone who's even, an older person, but who has either a shoulder dislocated, a hip broken, a knee broken, a wrist broken because their dog is overpowering them or pulling them or tripping them. Ice is difficult for everybody, and you add another 30, 40 pounds or more pulling you. Debbie showed us some great tools to help you get control, and I really liked her weight command because the worst thing a person can do, I think as Debbie said, is let the dog charge in front of them out the door. I think that's a sign of respect for one thing. The dog should wait and let the person go through. Rushing out in front of you is a sign that the dog thinks, in some level, it's actually dominant to you, which is not a good thing. Same thing, of course, if you have any issues with control or respect, I really encourage people to contact Debbie or someone like Debbie who can help them, because once you lose that ability to control the dog, they don't exercise enough.
Right.
They usually don't have a very happy life because dogs do like to please, as Debbie pointed out.
And with obedience, I believe I read that the number one reason that dogs are surrendered or euthanized is a lack of obedience.
Right.
So for the safety of your pet, for your own safety, and for the welfare of that critter.
Yeah, and